Hi everyone, my name is Casey, and this video is about my leopard gecko Sebastian. This is her 1 week video after her treatment, and pretty much this is going to be my personal blog to see how she's doing with her treatment and her recovery. But it's also a good video in case your Leo is going through the same thing. You might be able to get some tips and pointers or advice or something of that nature. So this is Sebastian. She's my baby girl, and as you can see, she is really thin for an adult female leopard gecko. She is 6 years old, and when I took her to the vet, she weighed 20 grams or so, right around 20 grams, which is way underweight for an adult female leopard gecko. They should be over 40 grams. So anyway, before I was able to take her to the vet, I noticed about 2 weeks ago she quit eating food. No matter what I do, what kind of food it was, she refused to eat it. And so I started, feeding her some baby food. I don't recommend it, but if it's for temporary nourishment until you can get to the vet, then I definitely suggest you use chicken baby food and try to get it without anything else in there. Sometimes it's really hard to find just plain chicken baby food, but you can get like chicken with gravy. That's what I used, and I mixed it with a little bit of water, and I hand fed her that. Like I said, that's only a temporary fix until you can actually diagnose what the real problem is. So, like I said, I took her to the vet, and they weighed her and all that good stuff, and they gave her a subcutaneous fluid shot, which is a fluid shot underneath the skin and like the back of her tail, kind of like right in that area. And in a sense, it's like Pedialyte for your lizard. And after that, she seemed to be moving around a lot better because she was severely dehydrated, because on top of not eating, she also wasn't drinking anything. And that's really hard to monitor. I mean, it's not really hard to monitor her food intake, but water intake is definitely a lot harder because, the water evaporates and and you can't watch your Leo 24 hours a day. So that hydration really perked her up. And then later that night, I was able to get her to eat one really small mealworm, which is the first time she's actually eaten her mealworm for the past 2 months, a little over 2 months. And it was really weird because she wouldn't hunt it. So I literally had to hold the mealworm in between my fingers and hold it in front of her face and to help her realize it was there and to eat it. Like I said, I could only get her to eat one, and that took an hour. A few days after that, I went back to my vet, and they gave me a prescription version of Carnivore Care, which is a powdered food that you mix with water and then you hand feed it. So when you mix it with the water, it's kind of the same consistency as the baby food, but it's definitely more nutritious for them. So since I started her on that, she has gained about 10 grams this week. Excuse me. Like I said, she gained about 10 grams, and so she now weighs about 31 grams. So this is what it looks like. This is a 100-gram bag. More than you'll ever need for a Leo. It says in here to use one of the blue scoops that comes in here with 2 blue scoops of water. The scoops are really decent size. They're probably more than a tablespoon. They're probably 2 tablespoon scoops per scoop. And for her, I use 1/8 of a tablespoon with 2/8 of a tablespoon of water. So her specific dose is 0.4 milliliters of Carnivore Care every 12 hours. So that's 0.8 milliliters every day. If you do use Carnivore Care, which I highly suggest you use, if your Leo is severely malnourished or whatever, to buy it on Amazon.com. You should really consult a vet first, but if you can't, then you definitely want to do your research online and find out what kind of nutrition your pet needs and how much. Like I said, she's an adult leopard gecko. She's 6 years old, and she was severely underweight, and so they made me give her 0.8 milligrams a day. It's better to No, I don't really want to say it's better to underfeed, but you definitely don't want to overfeed your pet, so you really want to be careful with that. You know, try, if you can't get professional help, try like offering it to them, but don't force it down them. You know, like you could put it on their snout and they'll lick it off. That's very time consuming, but until you can figure out how much they can handle, I really suggest that. So outside of that, her bone density is really good. Her organs are really good. And the vet was really pleased with her. You know, she's in bad condition, but her other things, like her actual previous nutrition, was really good. I've had her since she was a juvenile. And I tried my best to take really good care of her. I mean, heating, humidity, all that was always spot on. But I just, something happened, and so she decided to not eat anymore. Outside of that, trying to think what else. So her substrate was originally sand, and I made sure to watch her really close when I first introduced her to sand, which I did that when she was juvenile, and she never ate it. She never had any problems with it. But I decided to take it out anyway, just in case of impaction, and the vet said that there was no impaction present. But if your Leo ever stops eating, definitely change the substrate. That's probably one of the more important things. I personally changed my substrate to towels, and not your paper towels, but bath towels, because, well, they're a bit more insulated, and so it's easier to keep that belly heat temperature, and they're easy cleanup, and they look better, and they're kind of squishy, and she really likes it. She kind of like squishes it all up into like a bunch in her hide, and kind of like snuggles in it. So I might keep that permanent after she's better. So another problem she had was she was always shedding. Like 3 times a week she was shedding, and she would never shed her face. So her head was always like a whole bunch of leftover skin that she could never get off. And so I'd always like have to sit there and like help her with it with a lot of time and patience and warm water and Q-tips. That's pretty much what I use to get the skin off of her. That helps on her toes too. Toes are a little more delicate. But she's really tame, so she kind of just sit there and let me take the skin off of her. Like I said, it took a long time because you have to loosen that up with warm water first. But after she got the subcutaneous fluid shot, that was the first time in several months that she was actually able to shed on her own completely. She only had like a little bit on her nose left, and that came off within a day. So that was really good. So that was an improvement there. So even though she is a patternless albino leopard gecko, her color actually did start coming back after the shot, which I know you're like, oh, but she's albino. But the albino leopard geckos still have like a slight yellowish tinge to them, and it's more like a healthy glow instead of like, she looked really dingy and dirty. Not dirty, but dull, so to speak. Anyway, so that's pretty much it on her 1 week update. So I'm going to post another video probably later this week on her 2nd week with her weight and all that. And it is important that you guys keep in mind that I'm not a licensed vet. I'm sure you can probably tell. I don't have any certifications or anything. But I do have experience in care of, like, tying over care. Like, if you're not able to get to a vet, I do have some experience in dealing with that to tie them over until you are able to get to a licensed professional. Other than that, I've had this Leo for 6 years, and I've had my other one for 4, and he is doing wonderful. He's all fat and yellow and spotted and gorgeous. But if you guys have any general questions or any questions about your Leo that's possibly going through the same thing as Sebastian, definitely just write me an email or post it in comments. I'll try my best, and if I honestly don't know an answer or have an opinion, I can definitely direct you to the right area to get an opinion. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'm so sorry about the video quality. It's really bad. It's on my laptop, and this is my first video, so I was kind of nervous and all that jazz. So anyway, thank you, and have a good night.